this was another request. This was a request done by many people to say, hey, you're a huge Avatar Last Airbender fan. I'm like, yes, I am. This is like, well, can you watch the Netflix live action version? And I'm like, no, I refuse. I just don't want to put myself through this after all the things that happened with the freaking Last Airbender M. Night Shyamalan movie. That movie has scarred me to this day, and I still think about that movie at least once a week. Is it a shame? Yes, it's a shame that I think about that movie, but to me, I'm like, how do you have something so good, something that was made in your country, made in America, is already laid out for you. The creators are not dead. The people who made the show are still alive, and you just decide to say, this is my take on it, and I'm just going to trash it.
He's making fire out of nothing.
Anyway, that movie was supposed to represent 20 episodes, or 21 episodes. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stick away from the live action. The remake of Netflix, also heard that the creators, they didn't, I believe it's like D and K was the last name, or D and B, they didn't want to continue going through it. They dropped out of it. There's a bunch of stuff that goes on through it for this show, for this series from live action Netflix that you see behind the scenes. So I was like, I'm not going to watch it.
I can't do this.
I come across it. Well, people kept asking me to watch it, kept getting to me requests, so I finally sat down and watched it. 8 episodes, each one's about an hour long, and they represent 20 episodes of the cartoon. And for the most part, they did okay. Like, it wasn't, you know, if you're expecting to watch the cartoon in live action, like beat for beat, bar for bar, flow for flow, you're not gonna get that. You're not. I'm sorry. It's not gonna be flow for flow, bar for bar,
word for word, bar for bar.
Or no, Soldier Boy. It's not gonna be that. It is definitely different, but at the same time, it doesn't stray away from the cartoon so badly, where you have the Earthbenders in an Earth concentration camp surrounded by Earth, and that they can't fight back because reasons. And till the Avatar shows up and I'm gone, I'm here now. Also, you don't have the Firebenders using fire to bend. They actually just produce fire like the cartoon does. So that's already a good step. This show is definitely a lot more violent than the cartoon in the movie. Like, people are on fire. I mean, episode 1, the Earthbenders are just, and the Airbenders are just getting burnt to a crisp. Like, I mean, one lady's doing like a protection tornado of whirlwind of air to protect herself, and the Fire Lord just like, skip it, and just set the air on fire, and she burns in a blazing tornado, and you're like, God dang, this is not my kid's cartoon anymore. This is not the cartoon of my childhood. Anyway, I was cool with that. You know, somebody who watches play Mortal Kombat, stuff like that kind of violence doesn't bother me. But I was like, all right, cool. This is a edgier version of The Last Airbender. For the most part, though, the show is solid. It's a very what's the word? Not agreeable, but it's more of a show that you're just like, it's right in the middle. It's not offensive. It's not like this thing ruined my childhood. It picked it up, slapped my childhood, and kicked it in the dirt. And it's not like that. But at the same time, you're not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go back and rewatch an episode or 2 again because it was just that good. You're not going to be Game of Thrones level of like sitting on your seat, seasons 1 through 6, I should say, for Game of Thrones, sitting on your seat like, I got to watch this again. But you're also not going to be like, this is such an abomination, I'm not going to ever put this on again. The people who made this one, the Netflix creators, they actually did care about the show. You knew they care about the show. They care about the fandom. Like, the characters look like who they're supposed to look like, which the last Airbender movie did the same thing. Like, you knew who characters are just by looking at them. The show did the same thing. The show brought in characters like Jet, like the Northern Air Temple people who was making all like the machines like that. They brought them into the show, and they brought them in different spots. The timeline of the series of the cartoon is not gonna be the same timeline of the show, which to me is okay. That works. Matter of fact, there's things from Legend of Korra and also from the comic books. If you haven't read the comic books, a side story like The Search, where Zuko and Aang go search for Zuko's mom. There's stuff from that that's also get put into the live action series. So you know for a fact that this show, the authors or the creators of this show, the writers of the show, at least somewhat care enough to bring in characters and show stuff that where you're like, oh wow, I didn't expect to see this character here or where we're going with this, but they tie it up. Now, a few things that I didn't like when it came to this was some of the storytelling when it came to the show. Like, for example, episode 6, The Mask. Mask is not The Mask, but Mask. Which, if you're a fan of the cartoon, you know when you talk about season 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender, when you think of Mask, you think of the Blue Spirit. Well, this episode kind of gives you a little more backstory on Zuko. And one thing I think the show does a good job of, they do a good job of show, don't tell, or like when you're, but they're I guess telling the story to other characters. They're a good way of explaining exposition to other characters that where it makes you feel like this is a legit conversation, not them just doing flashbacks. And this season, for the live action, that episode particularly is one of my favorite episodes, The Storm, where Aang explains his past to Katara, and Katara kind of explains to him like, Aang, you know, just because you ran away doesn't mean that it's over. I mean, like, you know, you're able to change. You can't change the past, but you can't affect the future. Like, Aang having regrets about him running away. In that same episode, you get a whole talking scene where the crew is upset at Zuko, which they are in this show too. They think Zuko's a brat. Zuko don't know what he's doing. Zuko's, you know, doing X, Y, and Z. In the cartoon, Iroh sits down with the crew and explain, do y'all know how Zuko got his scars? Well, the crew just thought he got to do it, you know, an accident. Now, there's no mere accident, as Iroh explained to him. He stood up against his father in a, you know, battle strategy meeting and said that's not what he should do. In the show, they do a good job explaining. Zuko's like, hey, you just can't get rid of people. People are, you know, they're vital. I don't care if they are going to father. You shouldn't send them to the father, the pastor, to get killed. Like, no, we need to save these people. We don't just throw people out there. And, you know, Ozai decides to fight his son. He's like, all right, cool. I'm going to kick your butt, Zuko. And Zuko's like, I'm not fighting my father. And gets burnt. Well, in the show, they actually show them fighting, which is cool with me, so like that. But where the show goes wrong is that flashback you get of Zuko facing Ozai and Zuko protecting the troops. It's just a flashback. It's like Zuko reminiscing. Like, Aang is captured by Zuko and asks Zuko, who hurt you? Which, to me, I love that. It just seems out of place, but I love that. Who hurt you? Like, let's talk about this. Let's sit down. And Zuko looks at him and then just looks away. And and it just cuts to a flashback versus, I don't know. How about Iroh explaining to everybody, to the crew, this is why Zuko is the way he is, and this is why Zuko, you know, because he seems like he's doing things wrong, he's not actually doing things wrong. He actually cares for y'all a lot more than you think. In the show, sitting there having that conversation about the crew and stuff like that, and the crew's like, oh, we were the people who was gonna get shipped out and get killed. We got put on this death hunt pretty much because Ozai wasn't what to expect them to find the Avatar. He just got lucky. But on this death hunt, which I thought was like, okay, that's actually a pretty cool way to explain it. I just wish they would have explained it like the show did. They didn't. They had these flashbacks. So the only people who know the truth are those who are actually experiencing it. Zuko's having his own flashback. Okay, they chose the audience watching at home what Zuko went through, but it doesn't tell the characters in this world what Zuko went through. Zuko don't have to explain anything to Aang, but at least the troops who were about to rebel and mutiny against Zuko, at least they had an idea what Zuko is coming from. The show doesn't do that, and the show, to me, is a loss there. Another thing with the loss from the show is the writing is hit or miss. And that's why I said this show is like really just a strong, pleasable show. To me, it's a C. I already gave my grade off the bat. But another thing the writing does, and I thought was odd was the Secret Tunnel episode, which Secret Tunnel is season 2, but they did in season 1. Cool. They had the whole Secret Tunnel group, Secret Tunnel, which once again, that's fine. Kind of cringe. Like watching live action doesn't hit the same as the cartoon does, but once again, they're trying. Give them credit, because they actually give exposition to what the tunnel's about. But the Secret Tunnel in the cartoon is between Aang and Katara, and that's start the seeds of like their romance, which the seeds kind of been played there in season 1, but it really hits hard. Like there's some kind of tension there. This one doesn't do it. This one kind of just have Katara and Zakka go through the tunnel, and they kind of, express their little grievances about them growing up, and about, mom is dead, dad is gone, and the roles they have to be, and them expressing like, hey, we still love each other as brothers and sisters, which is cool. But they missed out on Aang Katara, so when Katara brings up later in the season, when Aang goes and merges with the not the moon spirit, but the night spirit, or the sun spirit maybe, but one of the fishes that the yin and yang fish, I believe it's yin, he merges with. But anyway, no, it's moon and water, the water spirit he merges with. When he merged with the water spirit to fight the Fire Nation, Katara's like, Aang, don't leave us. You're precious to us. You're my family. We love you kind of thing. She get the spill. It doesn't hit as hard because Aang never really had that one-on-one with Katara that he did in the cartoon. When in the show, Aang does train with her, but there's not really that tension there to say like, oh, they might be in love with each other, or they might start some kind of thing there. So when Aang is just, fighting, and he hears Katara say those words, as the audience watching, those words can go on deaf ears because there was none of that built up in there. And I get it. I definitely get it. The cartoon Aang is a 12-year-old, Katara's a 14-year-old, and it's like teenage love, but it looks weird when you watch it live action, so I get that. And so I guess they don't want to put that out there until the characters are older to start that romance. But it just doesn't hit as same writing wise. Like, you didn't lay any of that groundwork to show that these two really do appreciate each other in an affectionate way, where Katara say those things and snap Aang's out of it. The reason why Aang gets snapped out in the cartoon is because he actually has a crush on Katara, so he hears that stuff. It's like, oh, the girl who I have a crush on is reaching out to me. Okay, I'm gonna cut back out of it. But other than that, for the most part, like the Kyoshi, I do like how they do the Avatar state in this series. Like, Aang doesn't truly go into the Avatar state by himself. He has a moment there, but really how he goes into it, he has the help from past avatars. Like, he talked to Kyoshi, who they definitely made her a 7-foot tall monster. Like, she is huge. But he merged with Kyoshi, and Kyoshi shows up and like kicks butt and kicks the Fire Nation's butt, which I love because Zuko actually does, and then once again, strong writing here. Zuko actually said if he fought Kyoshi, he would take Kyoshi down. He gets the opportunity to fight Kyoshi, and Kyoshi just like dismisses of him, which I was like, that's kind of cool. Nice little cheeky thing to throw in there. But he merges with Kyoshi. He speaks to the water avatar years ago who had an issue with the face stealer, Ko. He talks to Avatar Roku, and Roku's a jokester off the bat. Like, I do like how he interacts with the past Avatar, which is a cool little feature that the live action cartoon doesn't do. Shout out to that. And a few other things I like in this is the Yue and Sokka storyline. I thought that was a pretty mature way how they handle it. So Sokka actually meets Yue in the spirit world before he gets to the Water Nation tribe, the Northern Water tribe. Like, he meets her as I think she was a fox spirit, and this fox spirit definitely was hitting on him. And I was like, they really make Sokka a ladies' man. I know the cartoon makes him a ladies' man as well, but this show definitely hits on the ladies' man for real in this. And to me, I was like, okay, because they took the whole misogynistic thing that Sokka had in season 1 of the cartoon. They removed it. They said they're going to remove it. They said they really benefit the character, whatever the case would be. Okay, so without that benefit, Sokka really doesn't learn anything in this season besides, like, how to be a stronger warrior. But other than that, like, the whole thing, like, you can trust no matter what gender somebody is. You can trust them to be a good leader. You can trust them to be a fighter. You can trust them. All that tossed out the window. Matter of fact, the thing he had with the Kyoshi Island and Suki was that, like, I'm not a strong warrior. She's such a powerful warrior. So Suki kind of teaches her how to be a stronger warrior. And Suki's like, you get to live the outside world. I want to live that outside world too. And that's what kind of merged them together as a relationship versus him accepting her as a warrior. He already knows she's a warrior, and she's just going to see what the outside world is like and kind of find out, like, you're a fraud. You're not a good guy. What are you doing? Good as in, like, a strong warrior. You're just pretending to be a warrior. And he learns how to become a stronger warrior by speaking to Suki and training with Suki for a little bit before the Fire Nation shows up. Then the Fox Spirit he meets, which is actually Yue, who can go into the spirit world from time to time, and she saw Zakka there, and she's like, oh, there's the lover of my dreams storyline. So it's already painted out that she's supposed to be in love with him. Because even the whole romance thing where she's supposed to be betrothed to somebody else and it doesn't happen, like the forbidden love. And this, Yue just says to the guy, yeah, so I know we're supposed to be arranged, but nah, we're not going to do that. And he was like, yeah, I love her. I love her a lot. But hey, her prerogative. She chose not to, commit to us and was waiting for somebody else. So Zakka, you're that guy, and go take care of her. And I was like, oh, that was so mature. Like, that hit my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, because the cartoon was like, they're kids, they're childish, but this dude was like, yeah, she didn't choose me, man. It sucks, but Zakka, that was you. Go do your thing. And I thought that was a cool, like, just a addition to the show that didn't really need to be put in, but it did its job solid to that, like really solid. So good things there. But for the most part, the show, that's like a mixture of things I didn't like and liked. It just, for the most part, the show was just a solid show. It's okay. It's not offensive. It's not bad. I don't really think I want to do I do characters, but the actors themselves, I'm not going to do that. I don't think these are such new actors and actresses that I don't think it's fair to judge their acting in this. It just don't seem like they're trying their hardest. Put it this way, the cast is trying their hardest. So for that, I'm not going to dock them on that. Like, it's not fair to them. So as far as acting and actresses goes, they did the 100% the best they can with what they got, and you know what? Shout out to them. I definitely look forward to seeing them build more chemistry in the future. But as far as like that go, I'm not going to rate them on that. But I am going to talk about the cast and characters, like as far as the character himself. Aang in this series, writing wise, he's more serious in this, and he's just trying to figure out what he needs to do. Like he finds out from Kyoshi that he needs to go to Northern Water Tribe. He needs to go to Northern Water Tribe and figure out what's going on up there. So he needs to go up there. He finds out and he's like, I just need to go up there. He don't know what's going to happen, but she told me to go up there. Versus in the cartoon, he goes up there to learn from Northern Waterbenders. That's where you want to go learn waterbending. So that's what he's going up there for. It's just having the Fire Nations at the same time as attacking the Northern Water Tribe at the same time while Aang is up there trying to learn. I don't say at the same time because they've been tracking Aang going up there, and Aang goes up there. So that was going on, but that's why he in the show he needed to go up there just to protect, which I thought was weird. I thought it needed to be like he's trying to learn waterbending. That's what the goal is. Katara is definitely about hope. She's definitely like, hey, we need to protect Aang, and she's trying to learn waterbending, and she learns some form of it from Aang, and then Jet teaches her a little bit of something about saying, oh, use your past experiences to be a waterbender, and then pretty much the water scroll that her grandmother gives her, which she doesn't steal, give the water scroll. That with what Jet says about like, using your past experiences helps her become a stronger waterbender. And then the Northern Water Tribe, which was a big arc for her, with her telling Paku that, hey, women can be benders too. Women can be soldiers. I'm gonna say sawyers. Soldiers and warriors too. They have a whole fight scene, and Paku was like, all right, cool, you did a good job, but yeah, you're not gonna fight, which diminishes everything the anime did when it came to Katara fighting Paku. Katara fighting Paku to show like, hey, women can be fighters. We don't need to be nurses and healers. We can be warriors just like men can. And on top of that, like the necklace she has, that shows Paku that, oh, you're actually my your grandmother's my lover. I gave this to her years ago. And pretty much they just throw that whole out the window. Out the window, which you're like, all right, that takes a little bit of Katara's character building and character development. But for her, Katara's storyline in this season is just her overcoming the grief of not being able to protect her mother. And that's why she wants to protect Aang, because she lost her mother. She's not trying to lose Aang. And that's what that is about. Sokka's storyline in this, he wants to be a strong warrior and realized he couldn't go protect his family. He couldn't go to war with his dad because he wasn't considered strong or adequate enough. So this whole season, he's trying to learn how to become an adequate warrior, which he does, and he still goes through that a little bit, but he checks out of it and becomes an adequate warrior. Who else is in this? Zuko. They actually got Zuko's storyline right. Zuko's storyline is the same storyline as it was in the cartoon. They didn't really change this at all. They just pretty much made Zuko like the same sympathetic character. Like, I need to capture the avatar for my honor, and my dad would love me. So daddy issues there. This shows has a lot of daddy and mother issues, a lot of it. But yeah, Zuko's pretty much the same. They just didn't handle the Storm episode right. Azula's in this, which, okay, wow, it's cool to see Azula. She shows up in episode 3. With Azula being here, it shows her that she's trying to become like a strong warrior, a strong fighter, and once everything down to perfect T, if not perfect, then it is what it is. And they show Ozai in this. Ozai is showed a lot in this, and Ozai pretty much just the calculating war general of the Fire Lord, and he is pretty much. If people say he's pitting Azula and Zuko against each other, he's not. He just wants to see. He knows what makes Azula ticks, and he wants to see how Azula handles it. So there's that, and he's pretty much preparing her for the attack of Omashu, which you actually get to see in this season. Who else is in this that really I want to bring up? Appa and Momo, they're there. They're there. Appa's more of the passenger carrier, and Momo just kind of there for comic relief in a sense, but not really. Jokes, Sokka, he's not as goofy as he is in the comic books, it is in the cartoon, the anime, but it is what it is. Like, you can't translate one for one, bar for bar. They did do the final fight. I guess any other thoughts, because that was pretty much it for the characters. Oh, Iroh, he's the same character. He's same wise uncle, kind of goofy here and there, but for the most part, he's the same uncle. They did mix a little bit of season 2 in with season 1, where Zuko goes and rescue him because Iroh does get captured. Him and Aang gets captured, and Zuko goes and rescue him like they do in the cartoon at one point. But for the most part, he is like Zuko and Iroh got down right. They got him right. They was who they were supposed to be. Any other thoughts? I would say this in the end of Kajiro Zhao is in this as well, and Zhao, he is just as antagonistic as he was in the cartoon. I didn't think him as a threat as much. The cartoon makes him more of a threat character, and this one he's just kind of there. But Zhao in this gets killed by Iroh. Iroh's the one who defeats him in the Northern Water Tribe. Like, Zuko's the one who tries to save him, because what happens is the spirit comes and grabs Zhao and takes him to the spirit world and throw him to the prison fog. But in this, Zuko was stopping Zhao about to attack Zuko, and Iroh takes him out, and that's pretty much it. Like, that's how he goes out. But he still does the same thing with the fish storyline, and same thing with the Northern Water Tribe. That all plays out the same. It's much better than it was in the last Airbender, where the last Airbender had 4 random water tribe people drown Zhao. So I'm glad they did that differently in this. And the owl from the library, the great library that's on the sea, that's under the sand, he shows up in this, which was like interesting. Okay. Also, Monkey Yasuo's in this as well. And Monkey also had a moment with Aang, and they talked to a little bit, but Aang's like, he's still running away from his past. So Gyatso's like, all right, bro, well, see you when I see you. But for the most part, the show is just, it's solid. It's okay. It's solid. Any other thought? All right, that's many other thoughts. But like, is this a binge watching show, binge worthy show? Nah, it's not binge worthy. You don't have to watch all the way through. You can watch it here and there, but it's not one of the things you need. Like, I need to watch next episode. Nothing like that. And grading time. I'm gonna grade Avatar: The Last Airbender, or Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm gonna grade this show, giving it a solid C, a 75%. That's what it gets me. Like, it's literally right down the line. Like, it's nothing offensive, but nothing to be like you like cheering, like, I gotta watch this again. It does its job. It follows the cartoon / anime, and it changes little things around, but for the most part, it's solid. It's nothing offensive, nothing like I'm gonna like but also nothing where you're gonna be cheering to the moon and cheering to the sun, like, yeah. You're not doing all that. It does its job. Let's see here. IMDb gives it a 7.2 out of 10. That is a C minus, and Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 60%, which as a D, which I don't think it deserves a 60%. Like, I don't think it's that bad, but that what Rotten Tomatoes gives it. To me, it's just a solid C. If you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix series, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys next episode of Movie Breakdown Series Review, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.